Excellent. Good morning. How are you doing today, Dean?
I'm great. How are you doing, Arrow?
Absolutely fantastic, and always inspired by your inspiration because you bring energy that people can tap into.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm not a life sucker. I try to help give life. You know, there's those people who are around you that you're like, man, I get around this person and I just feel zapped for energy. I know some people like that, and try to avoid that because that's a downer. I'd much rather go with the positive.
You know, I'll tell you what, I've talked about that so many times on iHeartRadio about don't be a taker. You know, share with people, but don't be a taker.
100%. I know some people and they call and I'm like, oh, every time it's a take. Every time it's a take. You don't want to answer that call anymore.
Yep. This new movie, Paul's Promise. I got to tell you, the first time that I heard of it, when I hear the name Paul, right away I'm thinking of Paul in the Bible, and Paul is my hero in that Bible.
Yes. Well, this Paul would not be your hero at first.
Right.
This film takes place in the during the civil rights movement in the 1960s in the South and in Arkansas. And you know, growing up, Paul, a little white kid, his best friend was Jimmy Lipkin, a little black kid. They grew up together. They were best friends. They didn't see color. They didn't realize they were different colors or anything like that. They were just best friends. And Paul's mom was great with Jimmy, and they were lovely. But it's Paul's father sort of wouldn't allow it. He was very racist, and he wouldn't allow him to be friends, and basically taught Paul racism. And that's the thing, is none of us are born racist. You're born, you know, tabula rasa, blank slate, and any behavior like that has to be taught. So it can also be untaught. And this is the story of Paul being untaught in a sense. He becomes basically what his father was, a poor husband, a poor parent, a poor son, and he's a good firefighter, and I play his fire captain. Yeah. And we ends up at a fire at the adult Jimmy's house, and he tries to thank Paul and say hi to your mama for me. I hope she's well. And the other firefighter's like, well, you know this guy because he's black. And then he's like, no, I don't know him, and he doesn't know me. You know, so it's the kind of thing where the society gets in the way. And I think that's why Paul becomes his father, becomes that poor person, because it eats at him. And eventually his mother is very, very ill, and she asks him to go and pray. She was very non-racist and always try to teach him the right way to do things. But she asks him to go to church and you know, do a prayer list for her. And he says he'll do it, but of course he's lying. And eventually he does it for her before she passes, because she won't go. She's hanging on for something, and that's what it is. And he goes there, and it changes his life, and he spends the rest of his life serving others. Yeah. He started one of the first integrated churches in the American South. He started a thing called Friendly Chapel, an organization called Flame, feeding and loving all men equally. And he spent the rest of his life taking care of others and serving others. So it's pretty amazing. And that organization and those places exist today, and they're still helping people 24 hours a day, you know, 365 days a year.
Wow. Those moments when, because I am here in the South, those moments where you do bump into somebody that you know, and they won't, you know, say hello to you and stuff like that. I mean, in a moment's notice, and I know it's God in my heart, I'll say, don't leave me hanging. Don't leave me here with just a hello. You know you saw me, and I'll call them out.
That's great. My son's actually in school in North Carolina. Yeah. He goes to High Point University. So I'm out your way all the time.
Well, I mean, this movie, Paul's Purpose, I mean, it even though it does take place in the 1950s and 60s, come on, Dean, it really is a portrait of today as well.
Well, it's amazing, because if you go back to that time and you look at what was going on then, and then you jump ahead to now, it feels like there are people trying to pull us back into some sort of a segregated society. Yep. And I just don't understand that. I don't get that concept at all. I want to treat everybody by the basis of their character. And I don't see that there. I don't what color they are doesn't matter. I'm a mixed race kid. I'm part Japanese and part white. And I don't see myself as a Japanese American. I see myself as an American and a human being. And that's the way I want to treat everybody else on this planet.
Oh my God, I've always loved your heart. You got to come back to this show anytime in the future, Dean. And when you come to the Carolinas, let's get together and have some barbecue. You know, the East-West barbecue of the Carolinas. There's a war there.
Perfect. I'll go and I'll just sample.
All right.
I'll sample away and say, so there's a war between the East and the West part of Carolina for which has got the best.
Yeah, vinegar based or tomato based. And I like the vinegar, but I'm on the other side of the state where people go, you can't like vinegar. You don't live on that side of the world.
the perfect example of the ridiculousness.
Yes.
Yeah, I got to take it up. I don't know which one I'd be a fan of.
It's just delicious.
I'm in. I'll be an outside arbiter.
Well, you be brilliant today, okay, sir?
I appreciate it, Arrow. Thank you so much. And thank you for your energy. That's wonderful. Bye-bye.